Once upon a time, in a small village called Sweden, lived a very special kid called Christopher. Christopher lived with his father and his rat pet called Toby. The kid went to a special school and has a very smart teacher who talks with her about all his worries. The next morning, our protagonist went to saw his neighbor dog, Wellington, but the dog was dead. Someone has killed him with a fork. That's dreadful! Christopher was so sad and needed to hug Wellington, and does it. Suddenly, Mrs. Shears left his house and saw the scene and called the police and made it in troubles Christopher because they believed that Christopher was the pet killer. And that made him so nervous. All of this made to our protagonist take a decision to write about a book, the curious incident of the dog in the night time. And the detective to solve the case was himself. And that made him so useful. Even though his father forbade him, Christopher talked with a lot of persons in the neighborhood about Wellington until Mrs. Alexander, who was a picturesque old woman that said his mother has a relationship with Mr. Sears, who was the ex-husband of Miss Sears, the Wellington owner, and that made him so confused. Although Miss Alexander asked him not to tell anyone who had told him, Christopher wrote all about Wellington and his mother in his book, and then left his book in the kitchen. His dad found the book and read it, and he got very angry. He decided to hide the book from Christopher because he disobeyed him, and that made him scared. On next Monday, Christopher shared his book, disobeying against his father, and found it with a couple of letters from his mother. He read all the letters and found his mother wasn't dead. She was in London with Mr. Sears, and his father lied him, and that made him angry. Then his father told the truth. He killed Wellington in wrath attack. Chris was so confused and frightening and decided to go with his mom to London in secret. For that, he took a train alone to London, and that was a very big adventure for him. When he arrived with his mom, she was in trouble with Mr. Sears and decided to return to Sweden and rent a room, and that made him quiet. His father tried to get Christopher to trust him again, and to make him understand that he was willing to recover his trust, he gave him a pet, a dog. The pet stayed at his father's house, and Christopher could visit him as many times as he wanted, and that made him grateful. And that's all there is, and there ain't no more.